go. So welcome to another transmission of Ascension with A Course in Miracles. Today is September the 27th, and I cannot believe it is almost the end of the year. This is the last time that I will do a transmission in September of 2023. The next transmissions will be in October of 2023, and things come and go. Everything has a season, a time, a place, and it is absolutely so imperative that we all get comfortable. As I was talking to my sweet friend that is on this Zoom right before we started recording about the importance of accepting that we were talking about what is our purpose, and our purpose is really to be in the now moment, because in the now moment, we are present to what is. We are just being with what is. And sometimes in the now moment, what is your childhood. In the now moment, what is your young adolescence. In the moment, what is that you're a young adult. In the moment, what is that you are a young married person, or you are a young parent, or you are a young entrepreneur. When we are present to what is, we allow what wants to flow through us to flow. And as it flows, whether it's a time, a season to write music, or it's a season to open up a business, or it's a season to start a family, or it's a season to just plow the land and grow some food, knowing that who we are is an expression of the divine, having a very temporary experience as a human, instead of as a dog, or as an Arcturian, or as a being from on the planet Mars, or a rock in a different dimension. So when each and every one of us realizes that the source of all that is all that is, there is nothing else. And every single one of us is like, imagine an octopus, and it has all of these, arms that go out, and every single arm has all of these tentacles. We are a tentacle on a tentacle. And what the source is has spread itself out in so many ways, and has come up with ways of attaching itself. That's those tentacles attached. But every one of those tentacles has its own little tentacle, micro tentacle. And in that, there's even something that's smaller. Think of your own body. Your body is like one of those tentacles, but inside of your body, you've got different parts. So that tentacle on the octopus has all kinds of different things. If we were to dissect it under a massive, powerful microscope, we would see that there is so much. And yet, once we see all that there is to be seen with super powerful microscope, you would find space, you would find emptiness. Well, at the essence, we're emptiness, but then we're each a part, a piece that allows the source of all that is to experience a very limited perspective. And when you take all of the perspectives of every being, every rock, every molecule of water, every molecule of air, every leaf, everything, when you allow the collective to be experienced in every now moment to the source knows itself as all that is. But it needs all the different pieces to send the signal about all that is. That's why it's so important that we get comfortable and come to know who we are. One of the most deliberate things that has been done to humanity, because the ego is this way. This is why the Course in Miracles is so crucial. This is why I teach from the Course, and I will till my last breath in this physical vessel. It's because the ego is what allows us to forget that we're all that is, so we can just be what we are. But when the ego is completely operating on its own, when it becomes the master, when we're all ruled by the egoic mind, we become so totally and completely unaware that we are just a piece of everything. And it's a grand piece. It's an important piece. It's a precious, holy, beautiful piece. But when we don't understand that we are that important to the whole, then our minds become corrupted like a virus in a computer. It becomes corrupted. And now you don't remember that you're a piece of the whole. You think you're all that is. You think you are the center of the universe, which in essence we are from a holy, humble perspective. One who knows that they are the center of the universe. We are the one piece in the whole universe that allows source to experience that piece, which of course everybody else is as well. When you're operating in humbleness and holiness, you accept your role with such humility, such knowingness that you are in service to something grander. When your mind thinks that you're the center of the universe, and which is why we have had generations that have raised children who think that they are better than anybody else, who are so entitled, very, very much from a selfish, egoic way. We have been converted. Our mind, that virus in the mind, has corrupted our awareness of the importance of our peace. And then we're never satisfied. We need to always be the best, and we need to be in front, and we need to get this. That's why we have, we've all been taken advantage of. And why? Well, we have the VIP section, and if you have the money, then you get to drive on the the fast lane, I think they call it the Lexus lanes, not just the fast lanes for everybody, like the HOV if you've got 2 or more people in your vehicle. But now you don't have to have anybody else in your vehicle. But if you pay for it, you get special treatment. You go to the airport. If you pay for that particular pass, you get special treatment. If you pay for it, you get to be in first class. If you pay for it, you get to do this, you get to do that. So we have been conditioned into a level of specialness that has cut us off from the awareness of the importance of all beings. That's because the ego operates on specialness, and they keep coming up with new ways to make you feel special. And of course, you got to make more money so you can afford to be special. And that creates a mindset that divides humanity into the haves and the have-nots, the specials and the not specials. Well, that is like telling an octopus that one tentacle is more special than the other, and all the other ones are not special. It wouldn't happen. You couldn't convince an octopus to have special parts of itself, to literally cut off a piece of itself because it's not as special. Where humans would do that. Humans will cut off their children because they're not as good, or we cut off people from society and send them into what do you call that? Solitary confinement or whatever, because they're not as special. As a matter of fact, they're specially bad. Well, the octopus doesn't have an ego. The octopus would never even do that. The whole realm of nature operates without ego, operates in collaboration, and things happen, and it just, everything does its part. Everything plays its role. As humans, we don't know our purpose, primarily because we are deliberately conditioned by other egos who've been here longer into not knowing our purpose, so that we can continue to be easily manipulated. Humanity is in the process of a big awakening, and it's a rude awakening at that, because humanity does not, as a whole, does not want to hear what is going to be inconvenient, because the ego has been trained into feeling good, into only wanting what feels good, into numbing all pain, numbing all past stuff. That's why it's so easy to get drunk, to get high, to get sexed up, to get whatever, chase things that make us temporarily feel good, but the feeling bad never ends. So you got to constantly feed that beast that has us, because I was part of that game, has us being so focused and trying to feel good, then focusing our time and finding our part in what is already good. So today, I'm super excited that we're going to start a new section. We're still in chapter 30. We're still in the new beginning. Now we're entering to section number 4. And in section number 4, it's the title of it is The Truth Behind Illusions. we finished coming out of the area, realizing that we have put all of these false idols ahead of us. We've put all these doctors and lawyers and presidents and politicians and CPAs and CEOs, like they're more important than anybody else because we've been trained in specialness. It makes perfect sense. But when you begin to see the truth that is behind the illusion of the idols and the special people and the superstar movie star, we have all participated in believing that it is okay to pay somebody millions of dollars and then pay somebody else $10 an hour. We have all been very complicit in agreeing that that's okay. And the reason we have been complicit is because how many of us really argue with that, stand up for equality for all? I didn't. Yes, I would say, oh yeah, raise the minimum wage. I would definitely chant that and post that on my Facebook page. But did I really do something about that? Did I run for office so that I could have a vote to make that change? No, not really. I was busy chasing my money. I was busy chasing my 6 figures or whatever it was that was going to get me what I wanted. But when my son started working and they minimum wage jobs, I knew, my God, these people can support themselves. A minimum wage job is a good thing that they're still teenagers and they live at home. But I knew adults who had to support a family on a minimum wage job. It was impossible all those years ago. But today it's not possible because we are deliberately being divided into more of the haves and the have-nots. But what is happening is more are have-nots and few are haves. And then we're creating this special group of those who come into this country illegally. Now, of course, listen, when I'm saying these things, I understand that there's no such thing as anybody being illegal and anybody having a country that is their own. In God's world, in the world of the octopus, all belongs to all. But in this dimension that we're in, we have an ego so we can come and have an experience of separation. But it wasn't designed to have, or it wasn't meant to be an experience of separation that led us to the destructive suffering that we are doing. And that's because the world of the ego creates more and more blocks to the light of truth. So what happens is that over thousands of years, less and less of the truth has been allowed to be experienced, and more of the lies have expanded to the point that we have these illegal aliens in this country that we allow to come in our own government. I was just watching this, what's going on in New York right now. And in New York, they are going to be giving billions of dollars, taxpayer dollars, mind you, by the legal workers and the legal residents of the state of New York to accommodate the housing, not even the food, but the housing of the illegal aliens, the illegal people who have come in here through the borders that have been totally unprotected by the government. So as we are waking up, we've got to look at, number one, we're all one. How did we get so divided? And how did in our divisiveness, did we become so callous with one another to the point that we call our neighbors illegal aliens here on this planet, that we take from some to give to others? How is it that we have become so absolutely insane? Well, it's because year after year, decade after decade, century after century, millennia after millennia, we shut off the light more and more and more. The room gets darker. The room, our vision, our ability to see gets more difficult. And we become so compressed and condensed into such a sense of separation that we're all contracted into survival of the fittest, into this nonsense that the 1% of the 1% gets to make all the decisions for the 99.9% of the rest of us. How did we get there? Because we created idols. That's what we've been looking at the last couple of so many weeks, is that we have created idols, and God did not create us to create idols. God allows us to want to have whatever experience we want. And we wanted the experience of idols. We wanted the experience of separation. And then we hit our rock bottom. We get to the point that we say, okay, enough is enough. And then some of us begin the slow climb back up into sanity, out of insanity into sanity. So the truth behind illusions is such an important thing for us to understand. How does this world that we have manufactured, that appears so real, that there are haves and have-nots, that appear so solid, that some get to have homes and others don't, that some get to have status and others don't, when we're all actually equal? How does that happen? Well, let's dive in. Let's see how that happens, because once we become more aware of the truth of who we are and we move through the illusion, yes, we are still going to experience being in the third dimension. Third dimension is the realm, like I've said it in an analogy, it's like an amusement park. And in the amusement park is that, let's call that third dimension. Goodness, I am so blessed. So to go to the amusement park that is the third dimension, you must be in a big piece of land. You must be, let's say, call it a city. That would be the fourth dimension, which is bigger. And for the fourth dimension to be the city where the amusement park is, well, you got to be in the country. Let's call that the fifth dimension. And for that country to exist, let's say that that is in a continent. Call that the sixth dimension. So if you keep looking further out, you will eventually reach the place where it's multidimensional and it's all that is possible. And then we come to the earth, and then we come to the continent, then we come to the country, and then we come to the city, and then we come to the amusement park called 3D, the 3D world, the 3D realm. In the 3D park, when you enter, you got to forget that you are in the fourth dimension or the fifth dimension or the sixth or the seventh. You got to forget to have an experience in the amusement park. You can't be thinking, well, I'm just on planet Earth. This is just a tiny little piece of planet Earth. You wouldn't enjoy the amusement park. If you knew that this is just a little blip and this is all made up, this is all an illusion, it's all created for the purpose of just a temporary entertainment, you wouldn't have fun. It's, the people who are filming the movie and who are helping the characters put on the costumes, those people, they're not enjoying the thrill of the movie. They're working their part in the movie, knowing that it's just a movie. So we have to shut ourselves off from remembering that we are in something way bigger so that we can have the immersion into the amusement park. I took my kids many, many times to amusement parks. Lots of different amusement parks, whether they were a place called Whitewater, which was a water park in Georgia, or Six Flags, or went to Florida to Disneyland or Disney World, whatever. Lots of different amusement parks. And when we walked in, it was like we shut the world behind and we immersed ourselves in the rides and the food and the entertainment, the whatever was happening there. We would allow ourselves, hold on, my nose got runny all of a sudden. We would just allow ourselves to be immersed in the adventure. That's what we went to the amusement park for. If we didn't want to have that experience, we wouldn't have gone to the amusement park. We would have gone to the beach. But even if we went to the beach, we would be immersed in the beach. We wouldn't be thinking about the mountains. We would be at the beach. We go to the mountains. We would go skiing. We would be immersed in that. We weren't thinking about the beach. So we have the ability to move into smaller realms of understanding, close off our awareness so that we can have an individualized experience. To understand that you are not your experience, you are the experiencer of your experience. Choosing the level of experience you want is crucial to awakening. Until we get so comfortable, absolutely comfortable with that we are one with the source of all that is, choosing to descend through many, 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 many realms until we reach the level of forgetfulness that allows you to believe that you are who you are, that allowed me to believe that I'm Laina. I didn't hit bottom. And when I hit bottom, meaning the lowest possible place that I can go to help me see myself as separate from all that is, until I participated in that game and went, okay, all right, I'm all by myself here. It's all on me. Well, this is boring. I'd rather be part of what is connected to all that is. Then my journey to wake up began, and then I began to ascend, like a diver who jumps into the water from a high diving board. They got to go to the bottom. Most divers hit their feet, hit the bottom, and then they push up. Why? Because we want to experience how low can we go. And then we come back up. We have that glorious experience of returning home. It's just part of the fun. So the truth behind illusions, what allows the illusion to happen, is so important that we understand this. And this is what most people don't understand, because they're in the illusion. They think the amusement park is all there is. They kind of have taken up living in the amusement park as if they think the door is locked and they can't get out, and they stayed inside of the haunted house. That's what most of humanity's life has been, in the haunted house. Yeah, a few have the experience of the roller coaster ride where, they get to be to the top, that 1% or 2% of humanity, or 10%, that sees things. Oh, they can see the whole amusement park, and they own the amusement park, or they own the ride in the amusement park, or they're the ticket takers, or they're the ones who get to decide, how do we promote this and market this and whatever. Yeah, some achieve levels where they think that they're in charge and in control. Those are the idols that we allow to have those positions, because we haven't woken up to the truth that we're all the same. Our Constitution states that, because we had our forefathers 250 plus years ago knew that all men are created equal. And many of us know that 2,000 years ago, Jesus knew that. So in essence, the Constitution basically is regurgitating what Jesus said 2,000 years ago. And these things have been spoken even before that. So why do we not finally get the truth that sets us free? Because we don't understand the truth behind the illusions. All that is made up has truth behind it. All the magic tricks have truth behind them. The amusement park that scares the crap out of you has truth behind it. And all of the truth is that there is nothing to scare you. There's just giving you the opportunity to have a sense of being frightened. So they bring out the chainsaws that make the noise. They bring out the ketchup that creates, the red blood or whatever. They bring out people who are willing to scream, actors and actresses. So it's all made up. All of it is made up. So let's go right to where Jesus wants us to go. You will attack what does not satisfy, and thus you will not see you made it up. My gosh, is that a profound statement? This is, oh, wow. Thank you, Jesus. You start with giving us the truth as bold as can be. Let me repeat that. You will attack what does not satisfy, and thus you will not see you made it up. We can go to so many different examples. So here, let's just talk about what's happening in the world. Because when we can take A Course in Miracles and apply it to practical things, to what is happening in the world today, we can see the power of it to transform our lives, the power of understanding the truth to set us free. So don't we attack all the politicians, the two parties, this side, that side, those who know that there was corruption in the elections, that there was really cheating in the elections? When those people want to research that, want to bring it to the front, let's look behind the scenes. Let's see what happened, because we believe that there was voter fraud. On the other side, what happens? We attack that. No, there was no voter fraud, because this side, they won. They got their way, because it doesn't satisfy them to go check and find out that maybe the person that they voted for, that they support, didn't win. So you will attack You will attack what does not satisfy. It doesn't satisfy me to find out that my politician cheated their way in there, because that breaks the illusion that I voted for somebody honest if I discover that they're dishonest, because I'm projecting out there my own dishonesty. I am being dishonest with myself by not wanting to see what is truly honest. The more that you understand projection, the more that you understand that everything you think about somebody else is coming from a place within you that deep down inside, you know that that's true about you. Whether you accept it or not, it's irrelevant. It's coming from you. You are the projector of that thing out there. So thus, you will not see that you made it up. So when we don't want to have our opinions questioned, we then do not want to see that we made up our opinion. My opinion that I voted for a honest candidate and the dishonest one is the one that's trying to question the elections, then I don't get to see that I made up the whole dishonest system, that I participate with the dishonest system, because then I would have to admit that I voted for somebody dishonest, meaning I participated in the co-creation of a dishonest process. We don't want to see that. We can take other examples. So in a divorce situation where, let's say, the husband says, I don't want to be married to you anymore. And the wife, and I've seen this many, many times, I've been a coach for a long time. And plus I've had lots of friends who have gone through these divorces, and I've seen this play out many, many times. You watch it in the news all the time, the movie stars, it's even in the movies. It's because it's the way that it is in the third dimension. So the wife then attacks, well, what do you mean you want to divorce me? No, you can't divorce. I'm not going to give you a divorce. It could be the wife to the husband. It doesn't matter. I just made this up. Because it's not going to satisfy me to let go of my status and my lifestyle and the things that I want. No, it's not going to satisfy me. So I'm going to attack you and say it's your fault that things are not working. If you weren't this way, if you would go to therapy, if you would do these things with me, then we wouldn't have this problem. So I am going to attack you because it's not satisfactory to me to then have to see that I made it up, that I made the marriage so unbearable, that my insecurities or my demands or my bullying or my victimhood or whatever it is, that I made up what is happening. I get to sit here, attack you, you're the bad bully, and I am the poor victim. It doesn't matter the situation, whether it's a divorce, whether it's looking at voter fraud, whether it's looking at medical corruption, whether it's looking at financial corruption, financial fraud. It doesn't matter what it is. We will attack what ultimately doesn't satisfy us. And that's because the ego in the background has a perception of what it needs to feel special. So it will protect whatever it thinks it makes it special. And if it's special for me to be on the winning side, the winning party, the winning political party, if it's special for me to stay married, even though maybe it's not a happy marriage, but at least I maintain my status, my whatever. If it's satisfying for me to hold on to a story, I will attack anything that attempts to bring light to the fact that I helped make it up, that whatever is not working, I contributed to it. If you have no fear, you're like, okay, you don't want to be with me. You don't want to be with me. That I'll figure out my own way. I'm not defined by the marriage. I'm not defined by the political party. I'm not defined by what my doctor says. I'm not defined by what the church says. Church is another perfect example. Oh my goodness, if you start talking about the Christian side, or you start talking about the Muslim side, and you want to bring questions to it, you will be attacked by those who are defending their idea of whatever satisfies their story. Look at what happened to Jesus. They went and crucified this guy, and all this guy was saying was, you are one with God. You Jewish people are one with God. But to the special Jewish people, the idols that had been put in positions of power, they didn't want their story questioned. Why? It would not have satisfied them for the masses to find out that they didn't need these idols in place, that they could have a direct connection with God. And if each person found out that they had a direct connection with God, they wouldn't allow themselves to become such enslaved people, which of course is going on today. Today we have the same kind of enslavement, only we call it corporate America. Doesn't that sound good? Yeah, you work 40 hours a week, 50, 60 hours a week. And we went through a period when we had what was it in the, what was it, 2008, 2009, the housing market, that the only ones that get bailed out were the idols because they were the ones who were the CEOs. They were the ones who the big fat banks, they're too big to fail. We can't let them fail. We can't let that happen. But all the little people, that's okay if you lose your houses. Well, if we, as a humanity, we attacked anybody who said, well, this happened to you little people because you have been electing people who don't care about you. No way. We did not participate in electing fraudulent people. Well, all those things are coming out because there is a leveling that is happening. We're beginning to see the truth behind the illusion because more people that are willing to question and they're seeing what is happening, they're turning on their light, and we're seeing all the things that have been happening that have allowed for the amusement park to have the haunted house. So more and more of us are going up into the higher levels of the Ferris wheel, or the whatever thing you want to call it. I don't write those things, so I don't remember what they're called. But anyhow, I can't even think of the word, the carousel, not the carousels, but you know what I mean, where you ride way up high. You can see, oh, those are all actors. It's all made up. But the thing is that it's all made up to scare you when you're down here and you can't see what's happening. So while we are down here and we don't see what's happening, we attack anybody who attempts to wake us up because it doesn't satisfy us to know that we've been tricked. We don't want to know that we've been tricked. We want to pretend that there are other people that are mean and whatever, so that I don't see that I'm tricking myself. I am allowing myself to be deluded because I don't want to see that what I have been supporting has been hurting me. So what that translates to, I've been hurting me. I am the cause of my suffering. I am the one who's doing it to me. That is what the ego doesn't want us to see. All suffering is done to self. All freedom is done to self. Nobody's going to come and save anybody, and nobody's going to come and hurt anybody, because all of it is done of our own free will by being participants in the illusion. All right. So you always fight illusions. Yeah. For the truth behind them is so lovely and so still in loving gentleness. Were you aware of it, you would forget defensiveness entirely and rush to its embrace. Oh my gosh, makes me want to cry. If we all knew the truth, our truth is so powerful and so lovely. We're making all this up as we go. Nobody's out to get anybody. It's like characters playing parts, playing roles to give us the opportunity to have the experience of the haunted house, in the amusement park, in the city, in the country, in the state, in the all that isness of the universe. If we just remained at the realm that we know all that is, then we wouldn't have that individualized experience of being birthed, of making love, to birth a being, of kissing, of holding hands, of knowing what it's like to saw a piece of wood that then you're going to put it in the fire and it's going to make you warm. All of those things are meant to be experienced so that we have an individualized aspect, so that the tentacle on the tentacle on the tentacle has an experience. Do you know that every single organ in our body has all kinds of different cells within it that have very specific parts that they do, and all of them are aspects of God having that individualized experience, as the cell in the liver, the cell in the uh, whatever. I can't even think of so many things right now. I've worked so hard to quiet my mind. It's hard sometimes to gather words for things, but the cell of the liver, the cell of the lungs, the cell of the rectum, the cell of the toe, everything is experiencing in this now moment being what it is. Because none of those things have ego, they're not complaining. But because humans have ego, meaning we have the ability to perceive things in illusion or in truth, we have the ability to decide, is this real or not? We get to experience the process of forgetting who we are so that we can go through the remembering of who we are. So that is what is so lovely, is that we have the ability to remember or forget. We have the ability to do that because we're the powerful creator of the reality that we're experiencing. But in the illusion, because we've been trained that, remember I told you about that virus has been planted into our mental computer, because we have been conditioned lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, generation after generation is conditioned into believing that we are not powerful, conditioned into believing mother, father, teacher, preacher, they have the power, but you don't. So when we believe that somebody is taking care of us, we don't want to question their power, because we have given them all the power as an idol to keep us safe, to make us happy. So as we begin to go through the process of understanding that the Course wants us to know the truth of the loveliness of who we truly are, to help us understand that we are powerful creators. There is nothing that we feel, that we experience, that is not under our control to decide to label it good or bad. This is why it takes so much effort to get above the line, where in consciousness, we finally go high enough that we can see clearly and realize, well, there's no need to label anything good or bad. It just is. It just is. What is happening just is, because it's a whole bunch of actors. All of us are actors, actresses playing parts that are playing roles. So as one can move above the haunted house, you see, nobody got killed in the haunted house. Everybody was pretending to either be the chainsaw massacre or the one being massacred by the chainsaw. All of it is played out. That is why this says here that we fight the illusions. We fight finding out the truth, for the truth behind them is so lovely and so still in loving gentleness. We are nothing but the essence of creative source, God, whatever you want to call it. The consciousness, the imagination that can imagine anything is still. Is not interrupted. It is not altered. It is not affected by the characters that we play. So as we begin to understand that everybody, everything is playing a part, the rock is playing a part in your illusion that you are living on a planet with rocks. The mountains are playing a part. The countries, the continents, the what appears to be borders, all of that is God playing a part to help us have the experience of being Laina the human, instead of me being, Billy Bob the Arcturian, flying around in a spacecraft outside of time and space. That is happening by an aspect of me, but this is happening by an aspect of me. You're an aspect of me playing the role of the one who is watching me sharing this. All of it is connected, because all of it is a piece, an aspect that is allowing the source of all that is to know itself as all that is. You've got to get comfortable with that. All that is God, whatever you want to call it. You can call it Baba. Baba experiencing all that is possible, because Baba is the creator with infinite potential to create. So it doesn't matter what we call that source that is all that is. The only reason we have a hard time with the name God is because we've been We've been trained into fearing God. That's why we need to understand the truth behind the illusion. The illusion that God is to be feared, the truth behind that is that God is love. There's no need to fear God. And when you begin to realize that you are an aspect of that source, what is there to fear? Everybody else is just playing roles. The president that could be cheating or lying, they're playing a role. The doctor that could be cheating or lying or is good is playing a role. The husband or the wife that wants to get divorced, that cheated, that maybe was loyal, they're playing a role. Don't take the role seriously. The truth behind the illusion is that all of us are playing roles. And once you realize, oh, this is all made up, then you free yourself to just become entertained by what is happening. But once you begin to see what is happening and you see that there is suffering taking place, you get to then sit and say, okay, Source, Baba, what is mine to do? And you'll either be moved in the direction of doing something specific, or you'll be moved in the direction of doing nothing specific. And that is how we live our purpose, is to come back to knowing that this is all made up. But you got to find the truth behind the illusion. And it is not to come to the place of realizing, well, it's all made up, so nobody really is suffering. In the third dimension, there is an experience of suffering. And that experience of suffering is being sent to the source. And that source is saying, but I'm made of love. There should be no suffering. And it's waking people up to say, let's stop the suffering. But you will know your purpose when you align yourself with God and say, God, what role do you want me to play now? Instead of the ego, well, I'm going to play the role of the righteous one who knows that that should be happening. Or I'm going to play the role of the victim who is going to be a victim to keep showing that this is happening and it should be happening. We've got to understand that the ego makes what is happening in the third dimension of consciousness real. And we're moving to find the truth behind the fact that all of this is made up. And it is such a beautiful process of discovering that we can actually do something about it, but the doing is going to come from a heart that has found truth, a heart that has found peace, a heart that has returned to oneness. Because it is not going to be helpful for anybody who wakes up to go and attack those who are asleep. It doesn't do anything. Why? Because we just read it in the very first sentence. If we attack those who are doing horrible things, they will attack what doesn't satisfy them. And we end up attacking each other, fighting endless wars that keep cycling and nothing ever gets resolved. So we have to pull out of the repetitive cycle that justifies the ego's need to attack and defend, come out to be an observer of it, connect with what is lovely, connect not only with what is lovely, but what is so still in loving gentleness. And in that loving gentleness that you realize, oh my goodness, my brothers and sisters are asleep, you will be able to tap in to the right role for you to play in that moment that brings truth to the illusion. Because you cannot take the illusion, you cannot possibly convince these people that they're in an illusion. It's not possible. You have to be the truth that allows them to see that there is another way. And that comes in gentleness, not in attacking, not in warring. We've got to pull out of the ways that we've been doing things so that we can bring in, shine the light of a new way. So then it continues to say, the truth could never be attacked. Anybody who is attacking truth, who's attacking showing what's going on, are doing so because they're scared, are doing so because they're trying to defend and protect their illusion. They're trying to protect the idea that they have of their special status or whatever it might be. But the truth cannot be attacked. It needs to be discussed. It needs to be shared. It needs to be talked about. So we can't go and attack those who are telling lies and attack them for telling lies. We need to come with gentleness. We need to come in peace and express the truth. And those who are ready to hear it will hear it. And a few will move to the side of the truth, and many will stay still in the lie. I mean, many of us have been watching COVID. Many of us before COVID started knew what was happening. Why? Because we had been neutral, not attacking, but rather informing ourselves in the way the game gets played out. We were studying the amusement park. We were studying the haunted house. And when you begin to study and see the trickery, well, of course, you get labeled, crazy things, oh, conspiracy theorist or whatever, and for a long time, those people got crucified, got put to death. Those people got labeled horrible things and suicided themselves in jails or wherever it happened to be, because the truth is very inconvenient. It says that's free, but first it pisses us off. But first it pisses off those who are trying to maintain the illusion. And yet there's nothing wrong with that, because this is all a grand game. This is all a grand game where the source is playing out all the roles that it can play. That's why it is all that is. And we cannot say, well, we like these roles, but not those roles. That puts us in separation, keeps us in separation. The judgments, the I don't like, is just a sign of somebody who's operating from ego. And that's all that it is. When we move to the side of consciousness, of oneness, we can observe what is happening. And then you just simply share the truth. As it states in here, it can never be attacked, because those who want to hear the truth must come neutrally. They must come open-minded. And once they're open-minded, instead of attacking or defending their position, if they come open-minded, the truth has a vibration. The truth has a resonance, a frequency that those who are closer to truth can feel it. That's why when you are at peace within yourself, you can see the lie because you feel it. It's dark, it's dense, it's tight and tense, and it shows up in selfishness and greed and control and manipulation. You can feel it. You can watch what's been happening. Again, take the whole COVID story. You can watch it and you can see who is on the side of greed, who is on the side of good, of well-being, who is for choice, who is for control. Because when you are grounded in the truth of who you are, it's a very lovely, peaceful place. You don't need to attack anybody. You can simply see what is going on. So it says here, the truth could never be attacked. And those who are attempting to attack the truth always have to try to get rid of the bringers of the truth. That's why they attack the messenger. They got to attack the messenger, because if they discuss the truth, it wouldn't be able to be attacked, because the truth is what sets us free. But the messenger, you can silence the messenger. And then it takes a while for more messengers to come out, because more people have to learn the truth, and then they've got to find the courage. But first, before they find the courage, they got to get angry that they've been cheated, and they've got to then take on a little bit of pride that says, I desire truth and I deserve truth and my family deserves truth. Then they've got to find the courage to speak the truth. But because so many truth speakers get crucified, get killed, get attacked, many find the anger about what's happening, but not the pride to go up to that next level and speak and not care about what happens to them. That's why, it's been really fascinating to watch in the spiritual community, how many people let fear hold them back. And then they say, well, that was an act of self-love. I love myself enough to hurt my community. But when we let fear be the deciding factor of what we do, then we're really not helping the greater good. We are continuing to perpetuate the suffering and the story, the illusion. That's why it takes a lot of courage to stand up and speak up from a place of not attacking. All right. So, and this you knew when you made idols. So when we chose to incarnate and play the role that there would be some people that would have power over us, we knew we were coming in to give our power away. We knew we were going to come in, because it takes courage to come down here and lose yourself and come down into the place where you need somebody here to tell you what to do because you've lost your own ability because you've given it up to go straight to the source, and you chose to play the role like an actor. You chose to play the part. And that is what is part of this awakening, is the remembering that we chose to play the part. But people don't want to say, but I didn't play the part of homelessness. I didn't play the part of being raped. I didn't play the part. I choose that. Well, here you don't think you did because you have to have an idol to attack. They did it to me. So it takes courage to move above the line and become neutral. Instead of blaming and attacking them, come inside and come know how powerful you are. Because when you come inside and discover how powerful you are, who is there to blame? They're just playing the roles that let you have the experience in the amusement park. That's it. Then he goes on to say, they were made that this might be forgotten. They were created so that you could forget the truth of who you are, that you could forget that you made it up. You attack but false ideas and never truthful ones. Listen to this statement. You attack but false ideas. We attack the people who say, this is not made up. I'm going to attack the ones who say this is made up. I'm going to attack the ones who say I have power. I'm going to attack the ones who say, well, you have choices. I'm going to attack them. You attack the false ideas, but never truthful ones. Because the truth cannot be attacked. The truth is that you are making the choice, even if you're choosing to say you don't have a choice. It's a choice to choose to say you don't have a choice. This was mind warping for me when I began to realize. I used to think it was their fault. And then I realized, oh, wait, it's my fault. And then I realized, well, it's not even my fault. It's not even a fault. I am choosing to be the one who thinks that I'm at fault. It's a choice. And the minute that I began to operate as if, well, what if I choose today to realize that I made it all up? What if I choose to walk around and everything that happens, I chose the rain. I chose the sunshine. I chose the person who hit my car. I chose the getting fired. I chose the getting abandoned by my dad. When I began to say, you know what, I'm going to walk around and accept that I made it all up. It was so uncomfortable to my ego. It was so liberating to my soul, because a part in me that was saying, yes, finally now we can become the creators of our reality, was so excited. But the part of me that didn't want me to see the reality that I was powerful, that didn't want me to give up blaming and controlling and judging, the part of me that got a hit from judging because I got righteous and it activated all those chemicals that made me feel, I know I'm right. That part of me knew, oh, if I'm not right, I can't keep producing the chemicals that I'm addicted to, that sense of righteousness. And the other side of me that said, finally, we're going to stop producing those chemicals of tightness and tension that are fight and flight. And she's going to start bathing herself in the peace that passes all understanding. Because when I'm not judging and needing to be right, I am at peace observing what is. It's so entertaining. I can see it with compassion. I can observe it and go, wow, we are powerful creators. But all of that has to happen inside of us. There is a battle raging inside of us. It's not out there. That's the projection of what's inside. But when we come inside and we choose to be open to maybe the truth is not what I've been taught, and begin to dig, well, what is the truth? Then you begin to discover all of the layers of deception that have been built to hold us down here. And you see the manipulation layer upon layer upon layer upon layer. But how did I get manipulated? I incarnated and chose to die, to descend into it. It didn't happen to me. It happened for me to have this 3D experience in the amusement park, specifically in the haunted house. So we attack the false ideas, but there's no way, if we were willing to listen to the truth, that we could attack the truth, because it's the truth that sets us free. And humanity is being seen more and more of the truth, that for many it's very inconvenient because it's going to bust their illusion, is going to break down into verifiable, evidence-based ways that they can't lie to themselves anymore. Because once they see it right there in black and white, in video, in photograph, in captured, then the ego can't lie to your own eyes. And that's where it's going to be very uncomfortable, because you're going to have to face, oh my gosh, I participated in this. I attacked the people who were attempting to bring the truth, because, as it says in here, it wasn't going to satisfy my ego story. So I was more concerned in being right and satisfying my ego story than in the truth that set me free. But that's because it takes courage right there, courage. And courage is above pride. Pride means I know the truth and I'm going to stand. I don't care what they do to me. I don't care if I get killed. That is courage. But pride, to stand up for yourself and say, I'm going to do what needs to be done, comes after anger. So to get people to find pride in themselves, they're going to have to get angry first. And there's going to be a lot in the rude awakening. A lot of people are going to be angry because we live in a world that's been made up by those we gave power to, have been using that power to enrich themselves, to control humanity, to basically decide that they deserve to have what they want, but the rest of us are just useless eaters, as we've been labeled. And when you begin to read these things and you begin to see that it is out there, it is printed, there are videos of these people saying that, and these people are the ones that we have made idols. We have said, yep, you get to make decisions for me. It's not going to be easy for humanity to see that we give power to people who don't care about us. But that's because anybody, when we enter the third dimension, you can pick to care or not care about each other. That is where our power lies. We have the ability to choose to care or not care. But all of that is being done by a being that is connected to all that is. So it's not a matter of caring or not caring. It's a matter of that we're one, that what I do to you, I do to me. So in the 3D world, when we come from the knowingness that we're one with all that is, and we condense ourselves into a small idea about who we are and what's possible, we can do those things that are absolutely unloving, because what is doing that thing, that Bubba or God or whatever you want to call it, what is doing that thing is just energy having experiences, acting out parts. If you're done, if you're bored with the role, you're going to wake up so you can play another role that is more caring, that is more loving, that is more gentle. Then you move to the fourth dimension. You step outside of the amusement park. But you have to acknowledge you walked yourself into the amusement park. Nobody did this to you. You walked yourself into the amusement park. You have to walk yourself out of the amusement park by being done with the silliness, the illusions of the amusement park. It goes on to say, all idols are the false ideas you made to fill the gap you think arose between yourself and what is true. When you enter into the amusement park, that threshold, that doorway is a gap. When you enter into the amusement park, you make a decision to believe that what happens in here, you have no control over. That person's going to come chasing you with a chainsaw, that you're going to get on rides that are scary, and that some people get to go to the front of the line, but you can't. Or that if you have more money, you get to pay to go through the fast line. And so you're tricked into thinking that you have a little more power than anybody else, but you all cross the door, the threshold. That threshold is the gap that you think is there. Well, you're here, you can't get out. No, you can, but you got to go back the way you came in. You got to go back the way you came in. You got to go back to the source to remind yourself of the truth of who you are. And you attack them, those idols, for the things that you think they represent. What lies beyond them cannot be attacked. You can't attack the truth. Once everybody comes to the fact that we know the truth of who we are, that's it. Nothing can attack that. Nothing is going to be able to change that. Nothing is going to be able to. Got an alarm that's going to go off here in a second. Let me make sure that it doesn't. Give us a little extra time here. Got a few more minutes to complete this. So we are in a beautiful place where we have the ability to now, because more people have courage to speak the truth. More people don't care what happens to them. They are going to do whatever it takes to expose the corruption over here, the corruption over there, or to expose that we have given power to people who literally think we're useless eaters. They're not going to stop, because those who have courage and anger and pride, they are the ones who are really exposing what is. Many of us who have moved to neutrality, we don't have to do the heavy lifting per se, but our role is to not judge those who are angry or who are bringing things to the foreground or who are courageous and exposing things. Our work is to just observe. What are they saying? Can we, instead of attacking them for saying the truth, go look at, well, maybe it's true. Let's look at the facts. Either research it and discover it for yourself, or don't attack it. If you don't know it, if you weren't there in the moment that something happened that they're saying happened or didn't happen, if you weren't there, then stay out of it. Go neutral. Allow things to arise. Allow things to be exposed. And you sit in the place of realizing that everything that is true must come to the surface, must come to the surface of our awareness if we are to see it from up here. If we're attacking the facts and the things that are coming up before we even know the truth, we are down here in a state of fear because we don't want our idols to be exposed. Because if our idols are exposed as not being good, then we have to admit that we put them in that position of power to do things that are not good for the greater good. So the ego is in a tough quandary right now. It made up idols, it gave its power away, and now it doesn't want to see that it gave its power away. But until you acknowledge that you gave your power away to experience what being powerless feels like, you cannot get your power back, even though you're using it to hurt yourself. That's why waking up turns everything upside down, because you've got to look at you. It's not out there, it's in here. Why would anybody be offended by facts? Why? Because facts, as it says in here, do not satisfy. Facts do not satisfy the illusion that somebody outside of me is taking care of me, or that somebody outside of me is hurting me. Facts do not satisfy the need for the ego to be right about it's a victim or it's a righteous, SOB. So sorry that we went longer today, but it's what was coming through. So thank you for being here. If anybody wants to unmute themselves and share any nuggets that you might have received from this transmission, as always, unmute yourselves. If not, thank you for coming again and again, week after week. This is transmission 121. Let me mark that down. I can't believe it. It's April. It's September 27th, 2023. Wow, the truth that is inside of A Course in Miracles does set us free. But first, we have to be willing to hear it without judging it and let it activate where we are in our consciousness. And if your consciousness is low, the truth is not going to feel good. If your consciousness is more in the middle, you're going to become more willing to check things out. You'll be more willing to be open-minded. If your consciousness is up there in a place of peace, you'll be able to see it and you'll be excited that whatever is happening for a reason. And the reason is to elevate all of humanity, whether they are going to be dragged, kicking and screaming. Because as a collective, humanity said, this is the decade when we want to wake up. And the majority really, truly want to wake up. That 1% that wants to keep humanity down is really the most scared group on the planet, because they're about to lose the power over 99%. And that 99% has various groups within it. Those who really know the truth that's going on, those who are wanting to learn, and those who are still asleep, but their sole agreement was to wake up. So if it requires a rude awakening, it's going to require the rude awakening. But at the end of the day, no souls are ever harmed. No souls ever die, because all souls are eternal and one with all that is. I love you all so much. If you want more of these messages, go to my YouTube channel, Laina Orlando, and you'll find them all there. If this inspired you in any way, shape, or form, please share it with others. If the truth really touches you, share it with others. Thank you so much. Love you all. See you next week. Bye-bye.